So guys, I may actually buy a brand new growth stock, and that's what I want to discuss in this video with you. I spent a bit of time with the market sell-off recently to look into companies that I think have some good potential over the long term, because typically when the whole stock market sells off, high growth stocks get hit very hard. This stock I'm discussing is definitely in that bucket, down 37% off of its highs, so quite a significant drop. And I'll tell you this is a stock that a lot of you have been asking me to make a video on. So here's a breakdown of what we're going to cover today. First, we're going to talk about what this stock is. This is going to be the big reveal. We're going to reveal this stock. Then we're going to talk about what this company does. That's extremely important for any investment. We need to look at the business. Finally, we're going to talk about why I am personally considering buying this stock. I'll share with you what I like and don't like with the research I've done so far. And if I could ask you guys to consider hitting that like button, because like I said, this is a subscriber requested video and a like goes a long way. Now, can we have a drum roll, please? What is this stock? Tattooed Chef, ticker symbol TTCF, is the high growth stock we're discussing today. And over the last few weeks, I've been looking heavily into this business, and I really like the industry that they're in and the potential growth prospects for this company. So there's definitely a lot of interesting stuff to discuss in this video. But before we can do anything else, let's first discuss what this company actually does. So this is how the company describes themselves. They are a food business, specifically plant-based, that is primarily focused on frozen foods. They have a very heavy focus on branding with a growing private label segment as well. They have a whole slew of frozen meals that they sell, which we'll look at in a second here. And on the right, you can see the growth rate that they've seen because of their portfolio. People seem to love their product, and this just seems to be growing exponentially here, and is expected to rise over 66% to $222 million in revenue in 2021, according to their projections. Optimistic growth for sure, but so far in the short time that this company has been doing their thing, they have proven that they are growing and there is demand for their product. So you know what, although these are just estimates for next year, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They are a high growth company and we should see at least double digits, probably mid double digit growth next year. Now here's a collage of their frozen foods, and you have things from cauliflower crust to cheese pizza to cauliflower mac and cheese to some organic acai bowls. And these are the products that make up their overall portfolio. And we can see the breakdown here where the meals make up 35%, followed by smoothie bowls, and then other things like pizzas, veggies, and all that kind of stuff that make up the rest of the portfolio. They then further break it down into their Tattooed Chef brand and private labels, and they're fairly even here at a 50-50 split. Now, private label, if you're not aware, is when a store sells it under their own brand. So like example, Costco, they have their Kirkland brand. So what they do is they take Tattooed Chef's product and then they rebrand it as a Kirkland brand, and they typically will end up selling it for cheaper as Kirkland brand. Now, while private labeling has its drawbacks because the Tattooed Chef brand doesn't get out there, it still kind of helps them because the product that consumers will be buying is still technically Tattooed Chef. So regardless, they're still making money from the transaction. So that's something important to note. So that's a good summary of what the company does. Now let's discuss why I am considering buying it. And let's look at some metrics too that I like and some that I don't like. First off, we see the net sales. This is growing nicely like we talked about already. And you can see here they have adjusted EBITDA margins. EBITDA stands for earnings before taxes, depreciation, and amortization, which is trending higher. And this is again a good sign for long-term profitability and sustainability. And really, these are the long-term goals for the business: 20% sales growth, 20% adjusted EBITDA growth, and the margin in the high teens. Now, objectively, looking at the growth, the numbers that they're pulling in, things look fairly strong. I mean, where are you going to find a company that's growing over 50% revenue year over year and has a lot more room to grow? There's not too many opportunities out there. Well, funny enough, Tattooed Chef actually compares here to their competitors, one of them being Beyond, which is a stock that I personally own and I'm bullish on. And we can see here that they do have a larger growth percentage expected over Beyond Meat. But now here's the thing, Tattooed Chef, yeah, they're growing faster than Beyond, but they're much smaller than Beyond. Their revenue is much less than Beyond. So for Beyond to kind of be growing around the same rate, that's not necessarily a good thing for Tattooed Chef. It means that they're willing to step things up. They really should be growing triple digits if possible, because if Beyond is so large and they're still growing, there's definitely opportunity out there for this market. Here we can see the revenue multiple. So they do our price sales calculation more or less for us, and it shows that Beyond is at a 13.2, and yes, that is high, but as a contrast, Tattooed Chef is at a 2.2, so that is extremely cheap on this front. No doubt a very, very tempting price of sales. Around a 2? That is, you don't really see that very often, guys. I'll be honest with you. There aren't too many high growth companies that have a price of sales of around a 2. Oh, I also didn't show you the profits. The company is profitable and they pulled in a little over $5 million in 2019. So it isn't all that big, but it is a good sign because, you know, profits are profits. What's more exciting is that Q1 2020 was a strong one for them, and they generated about 75% of the same amount of net income in this one quarter than they did in all of 2019. So that shows the trajectory and acceleration of their growth. Now, it's safe to say if you stop the video right here, it looks like I'm extremely bullish on this company. There's only good things to say about this company. They're growing spectacularly, you know, high growth, profitable, everything trending in the right direction, huge market to overcome. So where's the bad news? Well, I mean, there is a few bad things, and one of the main things is that I would consider this a spec play. Yes, you heard me right. I would consider Tattooed Chef a spec stock. Now, the reason why is because this is still a fairly new company, and although they have high growth, it's still very early on in their business stage to really decide if this is sustainable long term. Maybe they just have this massive growth for the next year or two, and then things just fall off a cliff after that point. That's what makes it very speculative. Also, the other risk I see is that they're competing in a very tough market. Not only do they have big competitors that are purely plant-based like Impossible Foods and Beyond Meat, but they also have massive giants like Kellogg's that has their own vegetarian products that's also competing in this space. So things are going to keep heating up here. Tattooed Chef, they may have a niche and they really focus on their brand to thrive, but it is a risk for a company that's, you know, this small compared to its competitors that are much, much bigger. It's tough and there is risk involved. Now, one thing that I personally do when I look into a business, especially if it's a smaller company that doesn't really have, you know, a long history of growth and sustainability, is I try to find as many interviews as possible with their CEO, with their management team, anyone higher up at the company to give me some insight on who's really leading this company. Now, surprisingly with Tattooed Chef, I wasn't really able to find anything in terms of interviews with their management team on YouTube. When I search for Tattooed Chef interview, which is typically what I do for other companies, Beyond Meat interview, for example, I'd see interviews around, you know, the CEO, CFO, COO, some C-level executive that's high up at the company that has a pretty good involvement in making decisions. However, when you search for Tattooed Chef, all you see is just stock-related videos on why everyone under the sun is bullish on this stock and they're buying Tattooed Chef stock. But anyways, I mean, maybe if I keep looking, I'll find something, and I hope I do, because I do want that understanding. But that's why I would consider this a spec. It's kind of like a shot in the dark. I'm just betting on the management team for this small business, and I'm hoping that they have a good head on their shoulders, but I can't judge that for myself. I typically don't like investing blindly in management teams for any company, specifically for these small companies under $1 billion market cap. So I'm gonna say this again, this is definitely in my books a spec stock. The other thing is that I'm actually not able to try their products right now. They're not available here in Canada as far as I can tell, not in my region at least, and that kind of also leaves a bit of question in my mind. Do they actually have a good product? Because when I look on YouTube and I look for reviews on their foods, it's kind of mixed, to be honest. People kind of like, it's not bad. Doesn't seem to me like they'll actually be repeat customers, which is exactly what they need. So again, that adds a level of doubt and a level of speculation. But you know what? I'll give them the benefit of the doubt until I personally try it myself, if I get that opportunity. And I do believe, just like Beyond, that they will keep improving their recipe over time. They will keep improving and releasing new recipes that consumers love. So, you know what? Let's just give them a pass on this one for now. I'm more focused on the management aspect. That's kind of the biggest risk that I see. So, like it or not, Tattooed Chef is a stock that I am considering buying and considering adding to my overall portfolio. However, I'll be honest, right now, because I'm still lacking some information, I'm sitting at around like a 30 to 40% chance of adding this in. So I don't hold a position here today. Now that may change as I find more information. Maybe I come across some interviews and that'll actually instill some confidence in me, in their management team, and I can actually put my money where my mouth is at that point. But for now, guys, this was just kind of a heads up. I'm looking at this company. It looks intriguing. The fundamentals look very tempting. So it is high up there on my list for stocks to seriously consider adding to my portfolio. I'll be honest, I typically write off these SPAC stocks as a pure gamble because more often than not, their fundamentals are so terrible and their outlook is so bad that it's all built on this dream that the company is going to do well. Tattooed Chef has executed. Tattooed Chef does kind of have a fundamental ground to it, so that definitely keeps it high up on my watch list. Either way, guys, let me know your thoughts on this. I know a lot of you have asked me to make this video, so all I ask in return, if you could, is to please share this video with a friend and like this video as well. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to invest positively, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.